Good morning. You know, it's a wonderful thing to find a treasure like Knox, Indiana. I love Knox. Didn't know it existed, but then when God showed me it, I'm like, okay, it's a little town. It's kind of quaint. But I've really started to appreciate the wonderfulness of Knox. You can go to your door at night and leave it unlocked, and no one comes in generally. You can go outside on your porch in the middle of the night and sit there, and no one will bother you. You don't hear cars honking. You don't hear cussing. You don't hear the chaos of the world in Knox. Now, if you've lived here most of your life, or all your life, you don't really appreciate that until you move to a place like Louisville, where that happens 24/7. You don't appreciate the fact that you don't have dust from cars blowing onto your front porch every day. You don't appreciate that you can hear the birds singing above the cars. And people who walk their children down the sidewalk will stop and talk to you for a few minutes and wave at you. And golf carts going this way and that way, and people waving and honking, and everyone just seems to enjoy themselves. It's a wonderful treasure that I have found. And today we're going to be talking about finding treasures as well in our scriptures today. Before I begin reading the scriptures, I want to tell you about a movie I once watched that changed the outlook for a lot of people. It's called The Matrix. How many of you have seen The Matrix? Anyone in here? It's a really good sci-fi movie. Because it starts out, I don't want to ruin the movie for you, but it starts out with this one guy who thinks his world is real. And then some strangers come to him one night and say, look, we want to talk to you. We want to open your eyes up to what is really real. But it's your choice to accept it or not accept it. And they hand him 2 pills. And after this long discussion about where he's at and what he perceives as reality versus what is real reality, they say, you got 2 choices in our hands. I have a pill that if you take it now, you'll go to sleep. You'll wake up and forget this whole conversation ever happened. And the world you're living in now will still be your world. But if you take this pill, in a short time, you'll awaken to what is real around you. Now, if that sounds attractive to you, then be careful. Because when you take this pill, you're going to find out that the world that you're living in is a wonderful world right now in your head. But when you wake up, the world that you're going to realize is around you is ugly, it's miserable, it's horrid, and you're not going to appreciate anything. And you're going to wish you're back in the world that you thought you were in. And what makes that movie so cool is people looked at that and said, wow, could that be real? With our technology today, could that be real? Could we really be in a world that's fake? A world that is all a dream and an illusion? And it made a lot of people question what they believed. Now, I like it because it talks about what God offers us. He says, here's this world here, and you think it's really worth it, but it's an illusion. Because what I'm offering you is so much greater. But if you take this and accept this, you're going to find that this world is better for you at times than what I'm offering you. Because what the world's going to do to you now, once you take this pill over here, you're not going to like. They're going to treat you different. You're not going to enjoy some of the things you thought you enjoyed. And you're going to be a little more miserable at times. But there's a bonus. I'm going to talk about that in the scriptures today. We're going to be in Matthew chapter 13, 44, 45, and 46. Jesus is going to be telling us a parable. And it goes like this. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again, and then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Now, Jesus runs right through that story. I want to slow down. Let's walk through that story. Because here's what we have going on right now in this particular story. Jesus is trying to tell the Jews, here's what heaven is really like. And they'll understand this. Where if you're old enough, maybe your grandparents did the same thing. They would take money and they didn't trust the bank. So they would bury it in their yard. How many of you had grandparents that did that, or great-grandparents? Or know of someone who did it? It was common practice to take coffee cans. In the Jewish culture, that was everyone. In their time, they didn't have banks. So they didn't have someone who would take their money and secure it for them. So they had to bury it themselves. And they did this mainly during times of war going on, or strife, or if they had to go on a long journey themselves, and they didn't want to take all that wealth with them, they wanted to make sure that wealth stayed safe, and they buried it in a secret place on their property. Well, here we have this guy. He's renting a field. And if you're a farmer, or you know of a farmer, you probably can relate to this, that they don't really own their property anymore. They do a lot of leasing and renting of the land to grow their own crops. And that's what this guy's doing. He's plowing in the field, and he's hitting rock after rock, and he's getting annoyed, and he keeps throwing them out. He's like, why am I renting this field full of rocks? What's up with this? And finally he hits one, and it's deep in the dirt. He's like, oh, really? So he gets down there and he starts digging. And then he realizes his fingers scrape wood. Well, that's not rock. And he knows, like any other Jew, that there's a potential that he's stumbled across something very, very valuable. So he takes his time, he's looking around, no one's watching. He opens it up, and to his joy and amazement is wealth beyond his imagination. Wealth that he will never go throughout his lifetime. So he slowly lowers the lid. He's looking around with a big grin on his face, and he starts covering it up. Then he continues plowing. So no one is the wiser that there was something buried there. When he's done, he then goes to the owner of the field and says, look, you know that piece of scrap land you have over there? I've been working and working. It's really not much worth of anything, but would you be interested in selling it? And apparently the owner's like, well, yeah. The guy goes, okay, what's the cost? And the owner tells him. He goes, okay. So he goes home and he sells his house. And he sells everything except for the clothes on his back and probably his family's clothes on their back. To his wife's probably grievance of, what are you doing? He goes, trust me. Trust me. The cost is high, I know. But trust me when I tell you, you're going to love it. You're going to love what we're going to do with this field. And all she can see is a scrap piece of property with rock that were on it, and yeah, they're going to grow some crops. He takes her out one night. He uncovers the dirt and says, watch. Takes an oil lamp with him and he opens it up, and her eyes light up. And she's overjoyed with it too. And they shut it back down until they can move that money to a more safe, secure place. And they realize both together that the treasure they have found was greater than the house they owned, and the clothes they owned, and the animals they owned, and everything else they ever owned. It looked like a dangerous investment, but the worth was worth it. You know, when we read the Old Testament, God tells us some things we might miss. And the reason why people are in the Old Testament Bible is so that we understand something. And it's that moment that I want to talk about today. When we look at that story, and we're going to go into the next one in a minute. But when we look at that story and say, yeah, the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure. It is worth having. But there are other people who understood that loving God costs. And that's what this parable is about. Loving God's going to cost you something. But in the end, it'll be worth it. Let's look at the life of Noah. Spent a lifetime, 100 years building a boat for no logical reason for anyone else to see. 100 years of his life laboring with a boat. Yet, because he loved God, he sacrificed that 100 years, and look what happened. He gets to regenerate the earth. He gets to be the father of life again. Through him, we all came about. We have Abraham, who had a life with his dad, had a life with his family, and God says, do you love me? Abraham says, you know I do. All right, we're going to leave everything. Let's go on a journey. I'm never going to let you know when it ends until it ends. And I'm going to direct every of your turns and angles if you trust me and love me. And to Abraham, that meant losing his family's inheritance. That meant losing everything and walking away from everything. But yet, the journey became evident to him at the end. And he said, yeah, this journey was worth it. I got to live in mountain ranges that no one else would ever live in for a very long time to come. And it was all mine. We had Moses, who once he fled Egypt, found safety. He found comfort. He found stability, and he found a stress-free life. But God says, Moses,
do you love me? Moses says, well, yes, I do, God. All right. If you love me, it's going to cost you all that. Come follow me. And we know it does. We know that Moses stressed out so bad most of the time dealing with the Israelites. He was ready to drop the ball and run away. But in the end, wasn't it worth it to him that he got to see, at least see the promised land? He got to be the spokesman for God. He got to be like the best friend to God that any human ever got to be. Then we move on to Esther, who was willing to lose her queenship. Because she loved God and loved the people of God. She said, I'm willing to give up my queenship. I'm willing to give up my life to put it on the line to save the people that I love and serve my God. When we look at these people, we look at their cost. It cost them dearly to love and follow God. We move on to Ruth and Daniel. People like them who put their lives on the line and left everything behind and sacrificed a lot because they loved God. But the cost eventually was worth it. Moving on into the 12 disciples. What did they have to lose? What did it really cost them? Well, it cost them everything in the end. Their lives, their social status, everything about them was sacrificed because they loved God. When we look at Paul, probably the greatest one who lost the most. Can you imagine being a Pharisee and having a high status in your culture and everyone bowed down to you as you walked into a sitting room or you walked by a neighborhood, everyone like come out and bow down and worship you basically? And you lose it all? Because God said, do you love me? Do you truly love me? Because if you do, Paul, it's going to cost you prison time. You're going to lose your freedom that you're used to having. And eventually, you're going to lose your life. You're going to lose friendships. You're going to have friends want to kill you. That's what it cost Paul. And so, when we read these stories, and Jesus tells them, look, there's this great treasure. And the guy found it and he loved it. And it cost him a great deal. But in the end, it was worth it. We read all those stories. We see the same thing over and over and over again. When we want to follow God, when and if we want heaven, it's going to cost us. And sometimes we're not going to like the cost. Sometimes God's going to say that cost is this amount. Are you ready to pay it? Are you ready to sacrifice what it's going to cost? Because if you are, keep in mind, the reward is going to be worth it. So then we go on into the next story. The next parable that Jesus talks about. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for a fine pearl. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. Can you imagine? You're on the Sea of Galilee. You're a merchant. You've made your wealth in jewelry and in pearls, and this is your livelihood. You're better off than the fishermen. You're better off than the carpenters. You're on the high end of eating good food, and you're welcome in the parties, and you're welcome here, and everything is yours for the taking, but nothing satisfies you. Nothing. You're always searching for that one thing, that one pearl, and that's what this guy's doing. Since he became a merchant, he's always sought out the one pearl, the one great pearl. Now, I have a pearl up there, and you've probably never seen one like it, and you'll probably never buy one for your wife, husbands. But wives, you can demand it all you want. It comes from a conch. Who knows what a conch is? Everyone who goes to Florida buys a conch shell. It's the cool thing, put it either in here or the ocean. Conchs will produce, they estimate, 1 in every 1,000 conchs will produce that pearl. That pearl, on the average, is over $1 million. So wives, you can beg and barter your husband to get you a conch pearl. Good luck. Because they're so sought out. And they're in so few markets that you've got to know some people to know some people to know some people before you'll get that pearl. But the thing is, if you had that pearl, you could throw all your other pearls away because they wouldn't compare. That one's so special and so unique amongst all other pearls. They can't even manufacture that pearl to look like that. And here's this guy. He's living on the seashores. He's marketing in that business. And he's looking and looking and looking. And finally one day he comes to a shop and he sees the one he's been looking for all his life. All his life he finds it, he goes, oh, there it is. And he almost crumbles. And he looks at the merchant and says, how much? And the merchant says, oh, no, seriously. Name your price. The guy who owns the pearl says, well, if you want me to name my price, I'm going to name an exuberant amount that no one will really going to pay because I really don't want to let go of this. But he names it. And the guy says, done. 24 hours from now, I'll be back. Hide that pearl under your counter. Don't let anyone see it. It's mine. I will pay your price. The merchant goes home. He goes to the elders and calls a meeting in the town council and says, look, guys, you know who I am? You know what business I have? I'm ready to get out of it. I'm looking for someone to pay this price for my business. Now, the price that was offered was less than what his market is worth. But he didn't care. It was high to the guy who owned it, but it was still low to him because all of his wealth was not worth anything if he couldn't have that pearl. So he goes, all right, guys, going once. And they're like, are you crazy? Going twice. This guy's insane. Going, I'll buy it, someone says in the audience of the group. And he says, sold right now. Give me the money. They give him the money. They're like, yeah, look, we're wealthy. He goes and finds the merchant. Says, there you go. I want my pearl. He takes that pearl. And he knows in his heart, it might not be worth what his shop was. But here, in his heart, it was worth the world to him. Because it's what brought him joy. And he could look at that every day and say, yes, this treasure I have is everything to me. It might not make any sense to anyone else, but to him it was worth it. To him, it was everything. Now let me put that in some versions that you might understand. Some story, parable might say. These aren't real, by the way, just saying. But what I have here is, who knows what snake oil salesmen are? You remember those back in the old days with pioneers and wagons? Guys come along, promise you medicine that would never hurt, cure, or do anything to you, but you drank it, you paid money, you thought you were going to get healed. Well, let me say I have the water of blessedness. Water of blessedness right here, right now. I'm going to offer this to you. Now let me describe to you before you turn your head away from me now. I'm going to tell you what this is all about. Water of blessedness says this. You take one drink and you can walk right out here, walk down to the gas station, buy a lottery ticket, and guaranteed to win. Guaranteed, I promise you. Water of blessedness says this. You don't have to worry about the IRS asking you about your taxes. Because you take a drink of this and it all goes away. Water of blessedness tells you this as well. You can go and play the stock market and you'll win every time. Every time. This water of blessedness, you'll have a blessed life. Everything goes your way. It's always sunny when you need it sunny. And it's rainy when you need it rainy. It's snowing on Christmas Eve. And it's 70 degrees on Christmas Day. Just for you, because you drank the water of blessings. And it'll last a lifetime. Now, what's it worth? A penny, they said. Well, I'm asking for a whole lot more. Because you see, to me, when I discovered this water, it cost me a great deal. So I'm willing to let you have it saved for your car. One drink. What about your house? One drink. Because if you drink this, you can always buy a new car. You can always get a new house by just going to the gas station and get a lottery ticket, right? What if I say it costs you all your friends? Well, no big deal. I can get more friends. Water blessedness, everyone's going to want to be my friend. What will it cost you? What if I say it costs you your grandkids? They no longer call you Grandma and Grandpa. They'll call me my wife Grandma and Grandpa. You no longer can go to their events and enjoy the joy of it all because we're going to do that. Is it worth it for you? One drink is all it takes. And I'm offering you blessed life from here on out. Then I have a second one here. If that one doesn't interest you. It's the ultimate age potion. This one will turn your body back to when you were 25 years old and you were in the peakest position, peakest age of your life. Your body was the most physical fit at that point. And this will turn you back to there now. Now, it does not prolong your life by any way, shape, or form. But it will put hair back on your head, Dwayne. If you wear glasses, all glasses gone. If you have a prosthetic, don't worry about that. Your body will just turn that right back into normal bone and you'll have a perfect body again. If you're a little overweight like me, just a little, it doesn't matter. It works right off in a day. One day, boom, all gone. If you're hard of hearing, don't worry about it. One drink of this, I'm perfect hearing, perfect sight. You're able to do the things that you used to do, but can no longer do because your body won't allow you. There will be no arthritis. There will be no disease of the body for you. You have a perfect body. One drink. One drink will cure your ails for your life. You'll go to the grave looking the fittest person ever and the happiest person ever because you won't have pains. The pharmaceuticals won't like you because you won't need them. But what is this worth to you? If this was real, what would you be willing to pay? Would you say, hey, I'm willing to pay $10,000 for a drink. I'm willing to give up my house. I'm willing to give up my property. I'm willing to give up my inheritance. I'm willing to give up my spouse for a drink. What is it worth to you? What would be the cost you'd be willing to pay? See, that's what Jesus was telling the Jews who were listening to him. He was throwing stories like this around, things like this, but he was saying, what if? What if you found this? What would you pay? What would you do? What would you give up for it? Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is perfect. The kingdom of heaven is where my Father lives, where I live, and where if you follow me, I will prepare a house for you. That you won't need to worry about the house on this earth because the one you're going to live in never leaks, never cracks, never shifts, never needs painted. You can hang every picture on the wall you want and it never matters. It's a beautiful house and it's just for you. That's where you're going. But it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you dearly sometimes, but it's worth it. Wouldn't any of those things really, if they were real, wouldn't they be worth everything you had to have it? As teenagers, as a youth minister talking to teenagers, we used to throw this example out to them. If I had a vial and one drop cured every disease in the world, would you give it if I gave it to you? Would you share it to anyone? Now, most of you would think, oh, those teenagers, nope, they're going to hoard that themselves, they're going to keep it themselves, they're going to drink it themselves, they might even sell it. But every teenager I ever heard offered that said, I would head right now down to St. Jude's. I would head over to this hospital. I would head over there. I would travel the world, Ron, and give drops of that to everyone before I took a drop. Because you see, they realized that they had something truly, truly, truly special. And they wanted to share it. They had something that was life-changing, and they wanted to share it. They weren't concerned about themselves. Which brings us to the moment in this whole storyline. The moment. Here you have a treasure that you find. Here you have a great pearl that you have found. It's called your salvation. It's called a life with Christ. But do you hold it? Do you hoard it? Do you keep it secret? Do you try to keep it as a lamp under a bowl? Or do you expose it like the city on the hill so everyone can see it? Well, here's 3 ways that are super, super simple that you can share your joy. Share your treasure. The first one is showing others. Showing others your joy, which we translate nowadays and use the term outreach. Everyone knows the term outreach. That means you go out and you reach out for people. Outreach is so easy. A lot of times you don't even have to say a thing. We're going to have a 4th of July float, and it's the perfect outreach. Because you don't have to say anything to anyone. You can sit on there and smile and wave and look good like me. Or you can walk the crowd with people like me, doing this and shaking hands and handing them a card. Don't have to say anything. You can hand them a piece of candy and watch the kids' faces light up. It's like Christmas. Oh, look, they're handing me candy. Mom and Dad's going, oh my, but oh, the kids love it. It's great. It's an outreach. It's what we can do. It's how we show others we are happy to be Christians. We are happy despite what the world says about us. We are overjoyed because we have a treasure they don't know about. But they're looking. They are looking. And then we have to talk to others. I like to look at it like this. Sunday you come to learn. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you go to teach. What you learn here, you take out and teach to someone else. Whether it's your spouse sitting at home, whether it's your kids who didn't get the chance to go to church, whether it's your neighbor who did not get to hear the word today because they were not feeling well. You go home and you get to tell them what you heard. It's sharing with others. It's that joy that you have, that you heard something that made you feel good. Now you're going to go share it with someone else. And it's talking, sharing. And then there's another form of sharing with others that's even easier than outreach. It's called technology. How many of you have ever heard of technology? You can raise your hands. If you've not heard of technology, you really must live in knox. I'm just saying, I've never venture out. Because technology here is rough. It's almost the Stone Ages. There's a thing called Facebook. How many of you have heard of it? Believe it or not, it's more for our age now than it is the teenagers, but they're starting to kick back into it. They're starting to realize, oh yeah, Facebook's cool again. So they're starting to communicate. So when you put a post on Facebook and you say, hey, today God blessed me with a sunny day. The people in southern Indiana you might know are going, not us, we got nothing but rain for 3 days straight. But you can bring a little light to them. You can let them know, hey, God brings the rain and God brings the sun. And God loves you as much as he does me. I just want to let you know that. You can put that on Facebook. And hundreds and hundreds of people will see that. They'll see your joy. They'll hear the treasure that you found. And they'll be excited by it. So you can do an outreach. You can go talk to someone about what you heard today, or you can post every day the joy that you have in your life, so that it is shared with everyone. Can you imagine what the disciples would have thought of that? What, we don't have to go travel to this neighborhood and that neighborhood, we can just do it right here on our phones? What? Oh man, I could do so much more outreach this way. I could be blowing up everywhere with this. Paul wouldn't have had to travel to Rome. He could have sat there in his own house. Yep, sin. There you go, Roman Empire. Now you heard the news. How great is that? Let me teach you what I've learned. Let me just, instead of writing a letter and hoping to get somewhere, there it is. There's the message for the day. There it is. How you doing? Outreach. Oh, here, let me tell you, we're going to be over here. We're going to be doing this. Love to see you there. Following Christ is to gain heaven. The cost will be light for some, heavy for others. But the reward is the same. It's life with our Creator. It's a life worth living for. And it's a goal worth gaining. If you feel that way today, then this week you should be out there teaching that, sharing that, showing that. Let's pray. God, we sang to you today, and it was lovely to hear and feel you here with us. We thank you for that. We thank you for blessing us with a life that we can live and enjoy. Father, we know we have struggles. We come to you a lot with those struggles. And there are those here right now who are struggling, Father, greatly. We pray that you will send your light to them. We pray that you will help us be a light to them. Help them to see the joy in their struggles right now. And the reason they're struggling is so that they can grow with you, Father, and trust in you more. You know that. And Father, I just pray your blessing upon everyone here today, and a blessing for everyone they're going to talk to this week. And we pray that you'll help us with our outreaches and our means to communicate the treasure we have, so we can do a justice to you and a joy for you. We ask all these things.